Very welcome to Thomond Park for what is a historic afternoon for Munster rugby. A double-header never seen before in Limerick. The Munster women's team against the Barbarian women's team, and then the men's team against the Barbarian men's team. It's a whole entire afternoon of rugby, a feast. And what else would you be doing on a Saturday? Mind the World Cup. This is where the crack is at. Dan Mooney on commentary, joined by Ireland legend and Munster legend Emer Considine. Emer, excited?
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's just such an historical event. The first time that Munster women and men have been here in the same place. You know, it's such a big occasion to be here in Thomond Park. And I suppose what a nice way for the Munster women to, you know, show and put right what didn't go so right against Leinster a few weeks ago in that Inter-Pro final. A lot of young girls in that squad, a lot of girls getting their first starts today, and what better an occasion to do it in than here in Thomond Park today.
Let's circle back to that Munster-Leinster Inter-Pro final in a little bit. First of all, we will very quickly run through the teams as the PA shouts it out behind me. There's a bit of a spoiler for you. The Munster team will line out with Roisin Ormond, Beth Buttimer and Eilish Cahill in the front row. In the second row, Dorothy Wall and Claude O'Halloran. In the back row is Brianna Haleman, Jane Closey and Chloe Pearce. At scrum half, Muireann Wall, and at 10, Kate Flannery. The centres, Stephanie Noonan and Alana McInerney. Wingers, Stephanie Carroll, Tism Aguero, and the full-back, Aoife Corey. It's a strong team. It's a young team.
It is. It definitely is full of youth. If you look at that front row alone, you've got Beth Buttimer getting her first start there at hooker. Came into the Munster squad there this year from the underage setup and has been really strong. Such a good addition to the squad. Eilish Cahill, you know, an absolute fantastic scrummager and has learned loads of the trade from Fiona Reedy, who we see on the bench today, and potentially her last game for Munster. Hopefully not, but she's still young enough to continue. We were just chatting before there. You've got Aoife Corey, fantastic fullback there. She's been playing amazingly for UL Bows this year, along with a lot of the backline. You know, it's Chisholm Aguire's getting her first chance in this Munster squad this season. She was capped in the past, but this year was involved in the national talent setup as a development player, and has just proved through her dedication that you'll see her today, and the pace, the power for in the wing. She gets that ball in her hands, she's going to score tries today. I suppose led there by the scrum half and 10, Kate Flannery and Muireann Wall. The two of them together are just such good rugby players, so young. They're kicking all the old ones out of the squad, but some exciting players getting their first starts today.
But it's a growing kind of a partnership there between Wall and Flannery. They seem to be understanding each other, and that's kind of what you want out of your 9 and 10, isn't it?
Yeah, you do, and I suppose they have they're gelling together a club with UL Bows. They've got a lot of opportunities to play together with Munster this year. Obviously, Nicole Cronin was injured quite a bit, missed the first game and the second game, came back in for the final two games, and again, unfortunately, today is injured, which gives Kate and Muireann that opportunity. And Kate's really improved her kicking game. You know, we saw with the UL Bows last week, she kicked touchlines, she kicked conversions from the touchline. So nice. Really exciting to see that today. There is a bit of a wind; it might be difficult in certain directions, but they're very exciting partnership at 9 and 10.
The Barbarians team then to run through: Elizabeth Craig, May Campbell and Catherine Buggy, Irish international, all in the front row. At second row, Christina Balogun and Eloise Blackwell. The back row is Beth Stafford, Vicky Fleetwood and Munster legend and Irish legend Ciara Griffin, former captain. At 9, it's Alicia Hughes, and at 10, Eleanor Snowsill. In the centre, Kate Alder and Grace Steinmetz. In the wings are Megan Gaffney, Maria Magatti from Italy, and the fullback, Elizabeth Golden. What can we expect out of that Barbarians team?
Oh, there's so much experience in that squad. The amount of international caps is crazy. Last week against South Africa, we saw a pretty tough battle, and they came out with the upper hand against them with some really slick offloading, really impressive ball skills, getting the ball out. And I suppose they just looked like they were having fun, but make no doubt about it, they're going to be here to want to win against Munster and back up that performance last week. I suppose we're looking particularly at the Irish girls involved in the squad here today. You've got Ailsa Hughes at 9, a lot of experience for Leinster and for Ireland. You've got Ciara Griffin back at 8 after a 2-year absence from rugby. I think her last game of rugby was with the Barbarians 2 years ago, and last week it didn't look like she had missed rugby at all. You've got Lindsay Peat on the bench, Catherine Buggy starting, a Limerick woman, so she'll be happy to be back in here.
We are just seconds from kick-off. Eleanor Snowsill is getting ready to get the game underway. The Barbarians in their club socks with their traditional striped jerseys. It's dropped to Corey, well taken inside the 22. She's going to carry out and over the 22. The Barbarians will be looking to cut loose, and that's a really good start turnover in the celebration from some of the Barbarians teams. They are absolutely loving this already. Grace Steinmetz in to celebrate. We're going to expect to see a team here that wants to play.
Catherine Buggy, a Limerick woman, will be very happy with that opening turnover there against Aoife Corey. And look, they've got an opportunity here on the 5. I imagine they'll take their time with it and they'll look to capitalise on this possession.
5 metre line out. Thrown into the middle, taken off the top, and the Barbarians look to maul this one, heading towards the Munster line. Is this the start that they want? They're going to get over the line, surely. And they are. Try scored. We're seconds into this game, 1 minute and 1 second into this game, and the Barbarians have already managed to get themselves on the scoreboard. Not the start that Munster would have wanted, Emer.
No, I suppose you need to look at where it came from. A good carry by Aoife Corey, but I suppose the support wasn't there. And when you don't have the support around you to get those barrels in, get them out of the way, they're going to come in. People like Catherine Buggy are going to get over that ball, and a simple kick for Snowsell to the corner. And we see how strong that pack is. The experience in that pack, even though they've only been together for 2 weeks, you can see the cohesion that they have among them. And not an ideal start for Munster.
May Campbell will be credited with the score, getting the back of that maul moving. And Eleanor Snowsell now lines up the conversion. Should be relatively routine for a player of this calibre. And indeed it is slotted over for the extras to give the Barbarians the perfect start. 2 minutes into this game and 7-0 up. Munster will want to steady their own ship and find their way back in and get at that Barbarians defence.
Yeah, they will. I imagine Kate will look to kick long, put pressure on them, force them to kick it out and then to gain back possession again. But we're going to need a big line speed here, big chase, and big D. It's what we pride ourselves on in Munster is big defence. So, let's just try and make the best of the ball that we have.
Kicked into the 22, collected, and the kick returned, bouncing up, really well taken. And a knock on, unfortunately, as it was attempted to kick, and now the Barbarians will look to strike from midfield.
Advantage is over.
Advantage over, the referee says. Barbarians have at the 10. And moving that ball really well. There's a bit of an overlap and an opportunity to get into some space. Popped up really well, taken from Megan Gaffney coming back inside. Distribution from Elisa Hughes is good into midfield. The Barbarians looking to gain some momentum. Little show and go from Snowsell, but Munster closed the door and standing her up and managing to turn that ball over. Emer Considine's pretty pleased about that.
Yeah, if you just look at what happened before that, Jane Classy with that, she actually got her at her ankles. It was a fantastic chop tackle, which allowed Roisin to get over that ball, and that's what you want to do: get them on the ground quick and get a turnover before anybody is able to get in and support that player. Munster just need to, I suppose, take it handy, not force it. We saw a knock on there from a forced pass. When you get possession back, just get a few carries in to get a bit of gain line and have patience on the ball.
Just outside the 22, and a chance for Beth Buttimer to throw in and see what Munster can generate from this attacking opportunity. To the tail, and unfortunately fumbled backwards, says the referee. Barbarians have possession just outside their 22. It was so close, but not there quite. Little step back inside. That's a big hit and a big sit down, and suddenly the Barbarians are rampaging again. Munster set their defensive line. Barbarians go short. Lovely take from Buggy. Recycles ball, but Munster counter-rucking really, really well and looking to get on this, slowing that ball down. Barbarians still have Griffin. Back into midfield. Yards lost for the Barbarians, and they're going to have to go to the boot, and it's charged down, and Munster are going to run this one in surely from here. Lovely pop-up pass. Is she going to get all the way to the line? She does! Super finish from Stephanie Noonan to the right-hand side of the posts. The block down on the clearing kick, and Munster rampage all the way in. Great support running, lovely offload, and just about getting over the line as they were tackled.
I thought Chloe would have taken it on herself. It was, if you look at the defence there, Eleanor Snowsell had no other option but to kick. fantastic block done by Chloe Price. You know, she does that quite a lot. I think she had the legs in her. She would have made it, but a great offload under pressure, and Steph did great to touch it down, you know, under pressure there again. But that's the kind of pressure I said, you know, Munster pride themselves on defence and that they had no options in attack. They were stuck inside their 22, and that kind of hard work, that kind of grit is what makes these girls, you know, as good as they are.
Outstanding defensive work from Munster. Fluffed the line out with the attacking opportunity and then turned that defence into another opportunity by squeezing the Barbarians. And we're less than 6 minutes in and it's already 7-all, 2 tries scored. This is the kind of game we enjoy watching.
Yeah, it's open rugby, it's free-flowing rugby, and that's what we're looking for here today, is to, I suppose, show off the skills on a stadium like this. It's where you want to be. You do all the training for days like today.
Barbarians will get us back underway at 7-all. 6 minutes into this game. Snowsill straight at Myrna Wall, collects and puts a boot on it. Dropping, well taken from Elizabeth Golden, and looking to slalom through the Munster defence, but the door is well closed in her face. Eilish Cahill making a huge hit there. Ogweru stepping up, can't get hands on. Lovely fend from Vicky Fleetwood into contact. Slow ball. Munster doing really well not to give Barbarians a platform with quick ball. Stood up in midfield. Eloise Blackwell goes in support, but Munster once again working hard to make that ball slow. Into midfield, Steinmetz, lovely pop up for Griffin. There's a little bit of confusion and it's been knocked on, and Munster put pressure on that carry and pressure on those passes and forced the error at the 10-metre line, and that's another good turnover.
Yeah, good pressure again from the D there. They were, you know, they were going laterally. I suppose the Barbarians, they weren't getting much gain line, but it was good patience from Munster as well, just to keep their defensive structure full around the corner, make those tackles. But I suppose those one-up tackles are key to Munster. You know, you don't want to be committing two or three to the one player, and that results in you getting narrow in defence. So I suppose they have to front up and make those individual tackles to keep that system.
It's an interesting attacking platform. 10 metres inside their own half. It's an early shove. The referee says go. And Pearce with the little tip on, and it's thrown into midfield, and it's spilled. It's gone loose. Is it going to be collected? Ogweru has to chase this one back to the 22. Plays it off her knee. And that looks like a high tackle. The referee's flag is out.
12, high tackle.
And really, there was a little bit of pressure. And Kate Alder, with the high tackle, lets Munster out of jail.
I think Munster were very lucky to get out of the jail there in that opportunity. I think there was a little bit of indecision from Chloe whether she was going to pass and carry. She's well able to do both, but I think it was just the indecision of which to do, which resulted in a 50-50 pass, putting Munster under unbelievable pressure. So an opportunity here for Beth to get that throw right and to right the wrongs of that last line out.
It's inches away in the last time round. To the tail Munster went. Will they shore it up with a simpler routine? Bottomer throws to the tail again, really well taken off the top, and Munster look to maul. Referee says the sack was good. Myrna Wall into midfield, lovely little pop, and Munster look to go around the edges and outside and manage just about to get ball in hand and gain some yards on a heavy carry. Wall again asking for some support. Referee says use it. Wall throws deep. And the kick is going to bounce awkwardly. Megan Gaffney just about collects it after it's bounced, and Munster look to get up and put some pressure on here. Good tackle inside the Munster half. The Barbarians will look to flash this one out. Lovely little take for a finish, and Steinmetz pops it up. Munster look to be under pressure here as the ball makes its way out to the wing. The little kick through is their chasers on. Work to be done for Munster. If they want to get this ball out, it's taken back over the line and touchdown. And Barbarians will have a 5-metre scrum. That ball just sat up so awkwardly in front of Kate Flannery. There was nothing really to be done.
Yeah, it was a really good option to Aoife Corey, the fullback, had joined the line, and they spotted that there was a space in behind. I suppose it is up to Kate to get over there and work on that cover, but really good kick, and that has a fullback as cover in the backfield. It's really difficult because you get it you're under pressure, you're isolated. You don't get it, it's going to be a try. So I suppose, look, there's so many other options that could have come from that, and I suppose this isn't a bad alternative, but I suppose it's just the awareness of knowing where you are on the pitch and carrying the ball back over results in an opposition 5 metre scrum, which we know how strong they are in the pack.
Last time was a free to Munster off an early shove from the Barbarians. This time round, referee says it's fine, it's popped out, and the Barbarians go blind, looking to carry.
Back foot.
Really well taken, but Munster's defence is good, coming up hard at them. That carry from Blackwell. Munster looking to get on it and slow that ball down. They've done that really, really well so far in the opening 10 minutes of this game, not giving quick possession or easy possession to the Barbarians. But the carry is there, and it's all the way through, and it's going to be touched down for a Barbarians try. The gaps just seem to open up. Super carry and really well taken score for Christina Balogun. Just bursting through the narrowest of gaps and touching that ball down. Munster's defence under pressure.
Yeah, it's hard to sustain that, I suppose, touchline defence. You know, there was 3 or 4 in that first tackle. To get back up on your feet and do that again, you know, it's a numbers game, and they spotted the gap there. I thought Ciara Griffin had her eyes on a try from that first pick and go from the back of that scrum. It was interesting to go down the blind where there isn't a lot of space, but you know, she made massive yards as we've seen her do in the past. She'd love to get a try here today against Munster.
Affectionately known as Junior, apparently, in the Munster squad, Ciara Griffin. Snowsill with the conversion, and that is a super kick to take the score out to 14-7. We're less than 12 minutes in. We've seen 3 tries. I think we're in for another 70 minutes or so of free-flowing rugby and try scoring. This is not going to be a tight, close encounter. We're going to see both of these teams cutting loose a little bit, and that's the occasion that's in it. Barbarians game.
Yeah, it's almost like, here's the ball, let's go score. Everyone who gets the ball is going to get a score, so let's hope it's Munster's turn right now.
Flannery to kick off. Drops deep inside the Barbarians 22 and looking to run it back out. Lovely fend into traffic. The tackle from Noonan is good. All the way out at the touchline. Awkward pass towards the knees, but Munster
Ball is out.
putting the pressure on. The Barbarians kick to clear.
Hold.
Corey collects just over the 10 and looks to slalom through and has.
All offside.
And all offside, the Barbarians all ahead of the kicker. Absolutely nobody retreating. And the kicker, in fact, not making much of an effort to get up ahead of the defensive line either. So
5 offside.
an opportunity for Munster to kick this and go back to that line out. Super kick, just about getting all of the inches that was needed. Was it a little bit close to going dead?
I think that was a bit too close for comfort there, but Kate's fantastic kicker, so knew exactly what she was doing, putting Beth into a great position for the Munster girls here. It looked like a little bit of miscommunication from the Barbarians on that exit, working to Munster's advantage here.
Bottomer with the feed to the middle, taken off the top. Munster set up and look to get this maul moving. Barbarians' maul defence is good, but Munster still have, and they're heading towards that line. It hits the deck. Ball is available to be played. What a Munster got. It's a narrow, short defence, and over the line, surely no. Just short. Munster have options. They're going to keep this one narrow. Lovely decoy run. Corey was shouting for it on the blind side, but Munster have gone short yet again. Barbarians' defence is outstanding, holding Munster out. 2 metres out from the line. The ball is spilled backwards, collected, and now into midfield. Noonan really well taken in the tackle. Referee says release. Munster are going to have to go out the line. Lovely reverse inside pass. Corey with the carry. Getting some good support from Alana McInerney. Myrna Wall popped up, really well taken, and Munster working hard. Wall again at the bottom. Huge carry from Brianna Haleman. Munster reorganising. They were 1 metre short. They need to buy those metres back, earn them with hard carries. Chloe Pearce into contact. Really well defended from the Barbarians, looking to keep Munster 5 metres or so away from that try line. What have Munster got? Lovely crossfield kick. Is it going to drop? And it's spilled. Unfortunate. So close. The kick was perfect, and the ball knocked forward in the last second under pressure, to be fair. But it's adventurous. You like to see it.
Yeah, it is. You know, after, I suppose the forwards had done so much work in those phases prior to that kick, the space was out there. The opportunity was on for Steph Carroll to make that catch, and a fantastic kick by Kate to put her into that space. I suppose under pressure, you know, you're someone running down your neck. It's difficult in those situations. But good play, and good to see the exciting rugby that we spoke about earlier on, that it is going to be an exciting game of rugby, and to take those risks. I suppose if you're not going to do it here, when are you going to do it? And we see the Barbarians doing it, and it's nice that Munster are putting on a show here of exciting rugby.
Switched it really well too, playing that tight, narrow rugby and then moving it to a more expansive game when needed. Feed from Elisa Hughes. Munster putting pressure on. Barbarians come away with it, looking to cut loose. Still inside their 22 and having to work. It's good territory from Munster, but no reward. And another charge down from Chloe Pearce. Barbarians managed to collect, but Munster are all over them. The pressure put on the Barbarians' possession inside their own 22 is outstanding. Excitement building inside the stadium. And eventually it's just going to have to be hoofed clear into touch. 10 metres out from the try line, and once again, Emer, outstanding Munster pressure and defence when the Barbarians are in possession inside their own 22.
Yeah, they're making it very, very difficult for the Barbarians to get out of their 22, and putting pressure on the 9, Ailsa kicking, putting pressure on the 10 kicking, and the Barbarians essentially just have no other options but to kick, because their defence is so together, it's so concise when it needs to be inside the 22, and I suppose they're working as a unit. And yeah, you have to look at the efforts and the work rate that the Munster girls are putting in defence.
Chloe Pearce is hungry. To the tail it goes, and it's overthrown, unfortunately, just a little bit, and suddenly the Barbarians are cutting loose and managing to get outside that 22. Pop-up pass, it's good, and Snowsill into midfield, and suddenly the Barbarians have options, making serious yards. Lovely carry, this one from Megan Gaffney, and eventually brought to ground just inside the Munster half. Into midfield, Griffin on the carry, bursting through 2 tackles, and eventually the ball ripped in contact. Munster have turned that one over. Another important turnover. Myrna Wall looking for options into midfield. Huge carry. Dorothy Wall into traffic. Munster are a little narrow. They're going to want to move this ball. Popped up for Roisin Ormond. Into midfield again, and the referee has blown the whistle. What's he seen? Looks like it may have been played on the ground.
On your feet to play the ball.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate for Munster there, after a great rip in the tackle there. Beth Buttermere did well, but I suppose, again, it's the patience. It's just taking the ball to ground, recycling it there. Probably could have been used and got rid of it a bit quicker, maybe 2-3 phases earlier. You know, when there is a turnover, you want to get that ball out and capitalise, you know, either the backfield if it's on because they're out of position, or send that ball wide. It's probably the wrong option at that point, but look, hopefully they can defend this maul. I imagine they'll go into some sort of a maul with that pack and what we saw the last time they were in this position.
May Campbell throws to the middle, and it's injured, and it's knocked on, but really well collected from Eilish Cahill. And Munster now, having turned that one over, will look to build just outside the 22. Referee is warning the Barbarians.
Use it!
Wall to Flannery. Flannery with the kick is going to bounce awkwardly, but really well collected from Golden. Has well taken into traffic. Thought for just a second with Gaffney outside that there might be something on the short side, but instead the Barbarians recycle. Beth Stafford into traffic.
Ball is available, you've rolled over the body.
Elisa Hughes gets hands on it and into midfield. Snowsill with the lovely little inside pass, and Munster have to work to keep the Barbarians from rolling through, and another one carry from Campbell this time, and it's popped outside, and the Barbarians rotating through this one. Will they get support? They need it.
Backwards to me.
Munster getting on it and looking to turn that ball over. Buggy has to work. Munster suddenly under pressure. The gaps were there. The Barbarians went through it, and now Munster have to reorganise and put themselves back into contention. And the lovely little pop pass up inside, and Griffin is going to go. No. Hall to the ground. The ball knocked on. Under pressure, and Munster get out of jail yet again. You thought that try line was coming. And suddenly, the pressure defence that Munster are under comes to the rescue. Ball knocked on. Really did look as though a score was coming up.
Yeah, Junior probably had an opportunity to pass pre-contact, and it probably would have put Munster under more pressure. I suppose looking at the phases prior to that, it's individual tackles, it's individual. Munster going quite high in their tackles, and they're handing us off quite a bit. So you can see the slap down. They're trying to get the slap down on that hand. Barbarians are quite good at defend, and it's 1v1 tackles that are causing us to concise in defence, and those gaps are opening as a result.
Set.
Scrum for Munster inside the 22. Feed from Myrna Wall. Is it going to be picked at the back? Chloe Pearce wants to get her hands on it. The Barbarians have turned that one over, and Ciara Griffin on the rampage yet again. Barbarians have options out wide. Are they going to move this? It looks like Gaffney is waiting for it all the way out on the wing, and she is going to score in the corner. You could see it was coming once that ball was turned over in the scrum. The Barbarians were just waiting to go, and Megan Gaffney saw that try line and all the space she had to run into, and manages to dot it down in the corner. What went wrong with the scrum, Emer?
You're asking the wrong person. I suppose, look, we've seen the dominance of their pack so far with that maul, where they mauled over. I suppose it's an opportunity of their dominance here in their experience. I suppose the dark arts of the scrum here, and they're well able. And Ciara Griffin took that ball at the back of the scrum and absolutely was on a rampage to get gain line, and she did so. Megan Gaffney, great try at the end. Simple hands, opportunity. Taking the opportunity of the space out wide. Megan Gaffney's plenty of opportunities in the past to score tries. She was a fantastic winger for Scotland, and for both for 7s and 15s.
Difficult kick for Snowsill, and it's not going to go. Hooked off the side of the boot. Opportunity missed, but with 22 minutes now on the clock. Barbarians 19, Munster 7. Munster need to convert some of that territory that they've had into points, or this game risks getting away from them.
Yeah, it's making the most of the possession that you have when you get over the halfway line, especially into our own attacking 22. The successful teams come out with points, whether it's 3, whether it's 7, 5. So we have to make the most of being inside in our 22.
Ball dropped in, a little bit of miscommunication, but the Barbarians do have and manage to get secure possession. Really good clear out. Blackwell has to do a lot of work. Barbarians still managing to hold possession. Ciara Griffin brought to ground. She's getting through a powerful amount of work so far. Snowsill into midfield, and Blackwell popping it up, and Steinmetz pops it outside, and suddenly the Barbarians are cutting loose yet again. McGatty with the step back inside into traffic. Munster need to reorganise themselves now, as the Barbarians go through hands and fend through tackles. As Emer Considine pointed out, a lot of fending from the Barbarians in the carry so far today. Into midfield, Snowsill through hands. Munster desperately need to get working. Picked, and a good tackle as Munster look to steady this ship a little bit. Into the backfield it goes, and that's a super run. Showing and going and popped up, and suddenly the Barbarians are moving again, and Gaffney finds it out on the wing, but there are Munster defenders. Gaffney steps back inside, slaloming through 1 and 2 and 3, and she's going to go all the way to the line. That is a superb individual try. An outstanding solo effort from Megan Gaffney, slaloming through 4 defenders on her way to the line, and what a try.
I think she made the most of Christina Balogun standing, retreating back. There was a gap that opened that Eilish Cahill wasn't able to get her with, but honestly from nothing really, she stepped back off her wing with no real options in front of her to that amazing try. She went left, she went right. She made a great try out of very little space. Fantastic finish, great speed. And again, I suppose look at individual tackles.
There is just a suggestion that perhaps Christina Balogun was in no rush to get out of the way, providing a little screen.
Yeah, it was convenient, her positioning at that point. It wasn't in the way, I suppose, but that's just the experience that the Barbarians team have. And we spoke beforehand of the amount of caps that they have, and along with those caps comes a lot of experience and knowing when to get out of the way and when not to get out of the way.
The referee wasn't interested in talking about it, and the extra points are slotted over from Eleanor Snowsill. And at 25 minutes on the clock, Barbarians 26, Munster 7. There was always a risk that this was going to get away from Munster if they didn't get some points out of their territory. The individual tackles have been something of a problem. And Barbarians taking full advantage of that because of the outstanding experience in that squad. Christina Balogun showing that, Megan Campbell showing that. Ball bounces awkwardly and it's touched. Well, Kate Alder thought she could get her hands on that one. It's brushed off her and gone into touch, and suddenly Munster have an attacking opportunity, and these are the moments you would think Emer Considine inside the 22, Munster possession. They've got to get something out of this.
Yeah, they're having a good chat there, and Beth has a fantastic throw, so it gives you options to go up at the front or to go up at 3. So will we keep it simple, get the ball in our hands and do the simple things right, or will we throw to the back? Going to Clodagh is always a good option. She's safe hands.
Well taken, and Munster look to maul, and it's bounced awkwardly loose backwards. And the referee says no, not backwards. I think it was the touch judge gave the referee the little nod to say no, that ball has gone forward. And Munster fluffed the lines, knocking the ball on and giving this Barbarians pack an opportunity to scrummage, and oh my God, do they enjoy that.
Just seems to have been a bit of a lack of communication in the transfer of the ball. I suppose it's difficult to see here, but it's been raining all morning. It's bound to be slippy back there, handling conditions. It is quite windy at the same time, so you mightn't recognise that from sitting at home, but it's not perfect ideal conditions to transfer that ball back under pressure.
The wind, as always in Thomond Park, just seems to swirl in multiple directions. Ball is fed, and Munster this time putting some pressure on, and the referee says it's not legal, driving in at an angle.
Going forward, then one coming around inside.
A free opportunity despite some really excellent pressure on that Barbarians scrum. Referee says it's illegal, and the Barbarians get out of jail for free. The penalty kick to touch almost at the 10-metre line inside their own half.
Red on the mark there.
May Campbell's throwing so far has been outstanding.
Let's take a step, please.
Not a single line-out missed for the Barbarians hooker. To the middle she goes, really well taken from Vicky Fleetwood, and into midfield the Barbarians go. Ciara Griffin rampaging yet again. She really is hungry for that try. Munster looking to get up and close the door, but the space in behind, and the Barbarians have options all the way out. Really well taken as McGatty looks to get back inside. Munster reorganise. The ball off the head, not knocked on, looked like a knock on, bounced off the head. Referee says play on. Barbarians driven back into their own half. This is better defence from Munster this time round. Hauled to ground inside the half, but Barbarians have to earn all of these yards, but suddenly there's an opportunity again. Steinmetz hauled to ground, and Munster managed to get on that and cause a problem, and a side entry from Beth Stafford. And that's much better, much more organised defence, much more composed defence from Munster, putting Barbarians under pressure there.
Yeah, like you can see, we mentioned about the ball conditions here, but equally it's the same for Barbarians. So if you can put their handling skills under pressure, if you can force the mistakes by, I suppose, intent in your line speed, intent in your defence, and getting up on the outside to force them back on the inside, which is what we saw Chisholm Maguire do as a winger. She got up, which meant there was no options. It was either a forced pass out wide or forced back in, and they went back into where there was trouble, where we had strength in our defence, and a fantastic turnover.
Maguire putting pressure on to close those options. It's really well taken at the back from Cahill. Perhaps not the intended target, but the ball was there, and the number 9 is taken out. Myrna Wall wiped out. The referee quick to blow the whistle on that one. Beth Stafford, just a rush of blood to the head. Can't play the 9 like that.
Yeah, I suppose when the ball is out and there's no one guarding that ruck, you're as a player, you want to go and get the ball. All you see is the ball. So heat of the moment puts Munster into a good opportunity here.
Beth Bunnemer. Last line out went to hands, perhaps not the intended target. That throw is to the tail again, and Cahill gets a hand on it as she hurt herself hitting the deck, but the Barbarians have turned this over.
Knock-on advantage.
Knock-on advantages to the Barbarians, and really quick to use that ball. What a tackle from Dorothy Wall, not in the mood for the Barbarians at all. And Ciara Griffin will remember that one tomorrow morning. And in spite of that, Barbarians come away. Excellent recovery from Cahill to just about haul down her opposite number, Catherine Buggy. Barbarians looking to go again. Ciara Griffin is just working all game long. For a player out of the game for 2 years, certainly seems to have the appetite for it. Barbarians holding that possession, going through phases, targeting Myrne Wall in defence. And now into midfield they go, and it looks like there may be an opportunity. That's a lovely step back inside and through the gap, and suddenly the Barbarians pitch is opening up in front. Lovely double tackle to just about slow that down. Barbarians still have another big fend. Ball bouncing loose, and Munster have turned it over. They'll be delighted to turn that one when the pitch looked as though it was opening up for the Barbarians. Myrne Wall checks the backfield and decides not the kick. We're going to go to hands instead. Munster recycling. Can they build from inside their own half, having turned that ball over when it counted? Huge kick from Kate Flannery. It's going to bounce awkwardly and collected quite well for a finish. Golden setting off and looking to see can they get some space on the outside, and the pass under pressure. Ciara Griffin has knocked it on and then kicked it into touch, and she chuckles as she does so. I think she knows that that one was on her.
I think she got a bit lost hanging out there in the wing. She's not used to hanging out in that position. That's what happened to her. She got confused. What a game she's having today. You can see even the fun that she has on her face. That tackle that Dorothy Wall made on her, you know, Dorothy would have been delighted with that because she would have learned a lot of the tricks of the trade from Junior when she was in the Ireland squad first. An uncharacteristic error from Junior there, but again, great turnover over in the far wing from a really strong tackle in defence.
Really looks like she's enjoying her rugby today, Ciara Griffin, and that's bad news for Munster. The scrum penalty, Munster's first scrum penalty, and it's tapped and go. Maul into midfield, and that's a big carry from Flannery up to the 22. Barbarians are not organised. Munster need quick ball. Still too slow, and into midfield, and Chloe Pearce steps this way and that and looks to make an extra yard. Referee says they're off their feet. Myrne Wall to Dorothy Wall. Wall takes 3 defenders with her as she makes an extra yard in contact. And Munster have some out wide options. Little dink over the top. It was super. And it looks to be recollected. No, Barbarians get hands on it just about, and McGatty is in trouble on that far side. Munster putting pressure on, and the referee says that's illegal for the tackler not releasing. And it's a freebie really for the Barbarians because they looked to be under pressure in that possession.
Yeah, they did. You know, Munster again, look where we were in our 22. I suppose the patient, if you'd say you kick with the, I suppose if it worked out, it was great. We're saying it was a great option. The fact that it didn't work out, I suppose you're looking at keeping the ball, keeping patience. But it's a day like today where you want to try options like that. And if that worked out, you know, we'd be talking about what a great try Kate Flann scored. But again, a missed opportunity. You know, when you're in, like, look at the score, it's 26-7. Munster need to just build phases, keep the ball, and get back into this game before the end of this half.
Well taken again. Another super accurate throw from Campbell. The Barbarians look to roll this one. Good steady possession, and there's a penalty advantage coming from one of the Munster players, presumably swimming up the side. So penalty advantage, and the Barbarians looking to get it. Munster need to get better hands in the contact, and little dink over the top. This one for Gaffney to chase, and it's going to bounce inside the 22. Referee says no advantage. We're coming back for the Barbarians penalty. It's a thing referees seem to be getting a little bit hot on now, is players swimming up the side of mauls, changing their bind and maul positions.
Yeah, I suppose you just have to listen to the referee because they're constantly communicating with you too. But again, heat of the moment, going back to tackling the 9, I suppose they know the laws of the game. The referee is constantly talking to you, but again, it's the tunnel vision of wanting the ball, wanting to get the ball back and playing with that intensity, which now gives the Barbarians another opportunity to get into our half, to get up and to make the most of that forward pack that we know are very, very strong.
Snowzill's penalty kick is outstanding, gets absolute inches out of that ball and into the Munster 22, and this is a moment Munster just have to weather. and defend this one properly. But so far, Campbell's accuracy from those lineouts has been exceptional. To the middle they go, and once again it's exceptional. And suddenly the Barbarians are humming into midfield as their tackle options. Huge hit in midfield, and a penalty as well. And that is outstanding work from Alana McInerney in the midfield. What a tackle.
I think it might have been Steph Noonan, her midfield partner, but like Steph, for someone so small, she is so mighty. Her tackles, she is so accurate with them, and what a fantastic tackle just to get us the ball back.
Closey on the carry. And Munster have, and a little bit of miscommunication, and it's been intercepted, and suddenly the Barbarians have it, and perhaps half-time can't come soon enough. The ball, no advantage. Back for the knock-on from Munster. A little bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, I think there was a front door, back door option there, and I think both thought they were getting it, or both thought they weren't getting it, so neither really committed to that ball. But an interesting choice for Myrna, midfield in your 22 to tap and go. So I suppose you look at, is it the kick from the midfield is too difficult to make to the sideline, or is it the line out malfunctioning twice up in our half? So it's just, I suppose, those decisions too that you'd be looking at, putting Munster under pressure again in our 22.
Games like this, is that a part of this as well? I mean, would we be looking at a much more tactical decision from Myrna Wall if this was a inter-pro game? The fact that it's a Barbarians game and there's an occasion to it, is that part of the decision-making process? Just tap and go because let's keep this game moving? Or
well, I think looking from messaging from the sideline, I imagine they're looking to keep pace and intent in this game, and I suppose that's the messaging coming from the sideline is let's play, let's get the ball and let's play. So she's, I suppose, just doing what the messages are telling her to do. Because we have the players, like we saw a while ago, Kate Flannery was able to cut through that defence, on quick turnover ball and being opportunistic. I suppose the thing these girls have is that they're all well able to play rugby. It doesn't matter what position you are, whether you're a loose set or whether you're a fullback. Every one of these girls is able to play with the ball in hand, and it's just giving them the opportunity to do that, because we need to get the ball in our hands and show just how much we can do and how much we can upset the opposition if we have the opportunity to do that. But it's just holding on to that possession.
We have seen almost nothing from Stephanie Carroll or from Chisholm Aguero because the ball just hasn't been out on those wings. We haven't really used the width and the advantage that those players would bring.
Yeah, and I think with wingers, it's not first phase you're going to get that ball.
Ball was declared to be out, and Munster, well, the Barbarians lucky to get away with it, and it swung all the way out for Gaffney, and Gaffney on the carry. Chisholm Aguero with a super tackle down around the ankles. Popped up, well taken from Kate Alder, just about. The ball, it is tricky conditions. It has been raining all day. To the second layer, and Barbarians rampaging yet again and making yards in the tackle. Excellent footwork. Blackwell with the pick and go, and just about brought to ground. It's sloppy ball, but Barbarians have it. At 5 metres out, they look like they may have options. On the right-hand side, they go open, and a huge carry and another huge fend, and Munster need to work hard, or there's going to be another score conceded before half-time. Out the wide side again, and McGatty on the ball, and it's awkward. Off the leg, the referee says. Thought the knock-on was coming. Not happening, but Munster doing well to keep that pressure on. And the Barbarians losing some yards, having to regain those now in contact. Through the hands, and there's a bit of space, and it looks like the try line is begging, just about held down, and then not the second time round. It is carried over, and it is finished underneath the posts. Munster just couldn't sustain the pressure that they needed to sustain. There's Ciara Griffin a little bit disappointed that she won't have been on the one to dot that one down.
If you look at why do they score that, obviously, they're great rugby players, but it's the way that they move the ball so quickly from the ruck. The opportunity here that the players were still on the ground, there was no pillar in place. Myrna was there, a pillar coming around the corner, so they weren't set. And I suppose it's the opportunism of seeing that, but it's the experience from these players to know that just to take the ball and not wait for the pack to come around and that pod that's set up. It's just playing heads up rugby of what's in front of you, along with the dominant carries that they had in the phases prior to that.
Snowsill slots the extras, and half time Munster are going to need to recalibrate, reset. 33-7 tries aplenty for the Barbarians. They'll be pleased with that. Munster, maybe not so much. The defence a little bit ragged. After a fine start, defensively, organised and aggressive, as the game has gone on.
Yeah, but it's difficult to keep that defence up. You know, that kind of line speed involves a lot of effort, a lot of energy. So I suppose then when you get that ball into your hands, it's tough to transition, and your energy is, I suppose, depleted as a result of the amount of energy it takes to defend teams constantly. And we haven't had a lot of balls, so, you know, I don't know the stats for sure, but possession-wise, I can't imagine Munster have had a massive amount of possession, which means defence takes its toll on the body.
Much better on this side, guys, okay?
The kick was outstanding in that it carried just the 10 from Kate Flannery, but then knocked on, unfortunately.
Crouch.
And easy possession for the Barbarians as we approach half-time. Clock ticking towards the 40-minute mark. The feed from Elisa Hughes. The referee says, hang on a sec now. We're going to have a little chat about this.
Stability wasn't there on either side, so it's my fault.
The referee taking responsibility for the lack of stability. That's a
My fault. Let's go again.
bold move. We will have the reset, and this will be the last action, presumably, of this half. This Barbarians team can score from just about anywhere.
Crouch.
And so at the 10 inside their own half,
Boy.
they're just as much of a threat
Set.
as they would be inside the 22 in Munster's half. Elisa Hughes with the feed. Kira Griffin wants her hands on it and just about gets it and pops it back up for Hughes. And Hughes looking for midfield options, and there's a superb take and a little show and go on a slalom, and they can score from absolutely anywhere, and it looks like they will. Nope. Awkward pass back into midfield. Looked like it had gone knocked on, but referee says no, Munster have it. They just need to get this one into touch and get to half time. And really, the try line was begging how that wasn't finished. A superb cover for a finish. Myrne Wall with the clearing kick, dropping into the hands of Snowsill and outside to Gaffney, and Aguero has to work to get Gaffney on the ground. Munster's defence under pressure yet again. Griffin on the carry. Two Munster players waiting to close the door in her face.
Ball is there.
Hughes at the bottom, popping it into midfield, and it's a good carry from Stafford. Stafford all the way outside. Steinmetz with the pass, and suddenly a try line begging, and it looks as though McGaddy is going to scamper in, and they are going to scamper in and finish that for a try just before half-time to take the Barbarians out to 38 points to 7. We knew that there was always a threat from this team. They have those running options. They have plenty of experience, and that backline is not short of pace. But that one will be a bit of a hammer blow for Munster, Emer.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually just more looking at the skills that they had on show to get that ball out wide. The passes were pinpoint accurate. They were under pressure. Each player that had the ball looked like they were a running option as well as going to pass. It's the deceptiveness in what they did there to hold that internal defence made that try so great.
And it's a difficult enough kick for Snowsill. We have seen some outstanding tries. I mean, Gaffney's solo effort down in this corner, and then that lovely team effort that started with a scrum at the 10-metre line in their own half and ends up with a score in the corner. A whole team involved.
I suppose we've seen a select, a various select tries. We've seen a pick and go. We've seen a maul try. We've seen a finish in the corner, an easy finish. We've seen an individual try, and then a kind of a backline try. So essentially, we've seen it all from the Barbarians, which tells us that they're dangerous in almost all areas of the field.
And it is half-time. Snowsill can't add the extras. A difficult kick from out on the far side, a right-footed kicker kicking across. And that brings us to half-time. And the score, 38 points to 7. Emer, what do Munster have to talk about?
I suppose patience on the ball is one thing. Getting possession of the ball and making it count. We've been in our 22 quite a few times, but we haven't actually made most of the possession that we've had. Then I suppose a bit of game management, like looking at the clock there. The Barbarians had a midfield scrum. They managed to make a fantastic break. Steph Carroll with a really good track back. We had the opportunity to kick that ball dead. The clock is 40. You're already 3 tries down, 4 tries down. Kick that ball off the pitch, and as a result of not kicking it off the pitch, keeping it alive, Barbarians just want to play ball, and it resulted in a try in the corner. So I suppose it's a bit of game management, realising where we are, what time is on the clock, and how many points down we are.
Some of the tactical decision making has not been spot on, but we will have a little chat shortly about what Munster need to do in the second half. For now, we're just going to take a very short break, and we'll be back to you with full coverage of the second half before you know it. Thrown into the middle, taken off the top, and the Barbarians look to maul this one, heading towards the Munster line. Is this the start that they want? They're going to get over the line, surely. And they are. Try scored. We're seconds into this for a player of this calibre. And indeed, it is slotted over for the extra. Yards lost for the Barbarians, and they're going to have to go to the boot, and it's charged down, and Munster are going to run this one in surely from here. Lovely pop-up pass. Is she going to get all the way to the line? She does. Super finish with the attacking opportunity, and then turned that defence into another opportunity by squeezing the Barbarians. Munster looking to get on it and slow that ball down. They've done that really, really well so far in the opening 10 minutes of this game, not giving quick possession or easy possession to the Barbarians. But the carry is there, and it's all the way through, and it's going to be touched down for the Barbarian. And the Munster squad, Ciara Griffin. Snowsill with the conversion, and that is a super kick. Back, Chloe Pearce wants to get her hands on it. The Barbarians have turned that one over, and Ciara Griffin on the rampage yet again. Barbarians have options out wide. Are they going to move this? It looks like Gaffney is waiting for it all the way out on the wing, and she is going to score in the corner. You could see it was hopped up, and suddenly the Barbarians are moving again, and Gaffney finds it out on the wing, but there are Munster defenders. Gaffney steps back inside, slaloming through 1 and 2 and 3, and she's going to go all the way to the line. That is a superb individual try, an outstanding, and the Barbarians losing some yards, having to regain those now in contact. Through the hands, and there's a bit of space, and it looks like the try line is begging, just about held down, and then not the second time round. It is carried over.
Around and that pod that's set up, it's just playing heads-up rugby of what's in front of you, along with the dummy.
Into midfield, and it's a good carry from Stafford. Stafford all the way outside. Steinmetz with the pass, and suddenly a try line begging, and it looks as though McGaddy is going to scamper in, and they are going to scamper in and finish that for a try just before half-time to Very welcome back to Thomond Park for today's coverage on Access Munster. A doubleheader, a historic doubleheader. Munster women's team versus the Barbarian women's team, and then the Munster men's team versus the Barbarian men's team. And so far what we've seen in 40 minutes of rugby is something of a try-fest. It's entertaining to watch, but Munster will not be happy. Dan Mooney on commentary alongside Ireland legend and Munster legend Emer Considine. Emer, what's the messaging coming out at the start of this second half? What's the thing Munster need to start doing right?
I think they probably need to just have pride in themselves coming out into the second half and to right the wrongs and I suppose come out and maybe leave the pitch. You know, a win might be too much to ask at this stage, but to come out with a bit of pride and a performance in the second half, and that's just getting their balls and getting their hands on the ball and getting them to keep possession. And I think if we get possession, you'll see just how skillful the Munster girls are, how capable of playing rugby they are. And I suppose, look, it's the occasion today. The crowd is building. Their friends and families are here. They want to put on a performance for their friends and their families, and a day like today. So I suppose it's just righting the wrongs of the first half. You know, we've probably got I suppose we were looking at our bench, but then you look at the Barbarians bench and they've just got equally as strong, you know, but you have people coming on, probably like internationals like Aoife Doyle, Maeve O'Leary will, I imagine, come onto the field. You've got experience in Fiona Reedy there. Big day for Gillian Coombs and the Coombs family, who will have brothers and sisters playing in Thomond Park. I suppose that's a first.
Successive matches.
So, you know, we'll have replacements coming on, eager to perform and eager to show what they're worth. And equally the Barbarians have the likes of Lindsay Peat, Ciara O'Connor. Looking at the Irish contingent, you've got Patricia Garcia, a Spanish international with, oh my God, hundreds of caps between her 15s and her 7s career. Again, equally as eager to show off on this Barbarians team. So, you know, look, you'd be looking to keep the points down on the Barbarian side and hoping that we can close that gap a little bit in the second half and make more of a game out of this, because the crowd will start to build. The crowd is building here and the atmosphere is building, so let's give them something to shout about in the second half. That
certainly seems to be the big threat. We were talking about it off while on our break. This Barbarians bench, they've watched their Barbarians team racking up 38 points in that opening half, and you can tell, you just know they're all sitting on that bench going, when is it going to be my turn to get out on that pitch and cut loose? So Munster will have to do some serious work to keep these Barbarian replacements quiet. Lindsay Peat, former Leinster and Ireland hooker, or front row, when you know she's going to want to have a crack off Munster as well.
She's standing out there in the pitch ready to go. She's already talking it up.
Okay,
and she'll be absolutely eager to get her hands on the ball and make some huge carries against her rival of Munster.
Kick off into the Barbarians' hands from Kate Flannery. Barbarians will look to go from the word go. Lovely little pass outside. Gaffney has to step back in. Good tackle. Munster working hard and have turned that one over, and suddenly there's a chance to go and cut loose onto the deck. Munster need quick ball. Barbarians rucking and turning that one over. An outstanding counter ruck. Munster weren't ready for it. Players got isolated, and suddenly the Barbarians have it back in their hands and are going to go again. Not held. To deck it goes. Big tackle. Looks as though Fiona Reedy has already come into this pitch. Ball knocked backwards. Barbarians looking to move again. Can't get enough of moving that ball and running into traffic. Lindsay Peat on the carry. Barbarians possession, and they've driven back 10 metres or so. Munster doing really, really well, and that's outstanding work again from Clodagh O'Halloran to put pressure, and suddenly there's a little break and a little show and go, and Hughes has taken off and slaloming through defenders. Elisa Hughes is going to go all the way to the line. Steph Carroll with a super covering tackle. It's not enough. The support runners were there, and Vicky Fleetwood runs underneath the post to dot down 1.5 minutes into this second half. And that is just how dangerous they are. Elisa Hughes saw the gap, ran through it. Great support running from Vicky Fleetwood to take that one and go over the line and score. a little bit too easy for the Barbarians, really.
Yeah, I suppose Ailsa Hughes played a lot of times with her, played a lot of times against her, and when you're doing your analysis on Ailsa, you know she's going to snipe around that ruck. So you'd often be really, really careful of making sure that pillar is in place and that you have your defence set up around your ruck. And I suppose she spotted that gap. Steph Carroll with the chase back and a fantastic pass to go to hand to Vicky Fleetwood on the support line. Another fantastic athlete. She has numerous caps for England, both in 7s and 15s, and captaining the Barbarians here today. Will be so happy with a try on such an occasion, but not the start that Munster will want, especially when they had done so well in the phases prior to that to keep them out, and then one slip in the defence.
Well, it really was impressive support running, because Hughes looked to be gone and isolated, and then suddenly out of nowhere Vicky Fleetwood turns up on her shoulder to offer the option and get over for the score. And Barbarians have yet again took ground, really well presented, and once again the snipe, Munster's pillar work absent somewhat. Carry again, Griffin into traffic. Barbarians really enjoying what's in front of them and playing the way they want to play. Into midfield again. Lovely through the hands. Golden out to McGaddy. McGaddy stepping back inside. The door closed in her face. And Hughes from the bottom popping it up. Craik on the carry. Once again, the Barbarians look to be really just enjoying themselves, bouncing in and out of tackles. That's a huge carry from Balogun. But this time around, Munster managed to get there, and one of the support players going in off their feet as Christina Balogun rampaged into several defenders, and Munster get away with one a little bit there.
Yeah, I think Munster were pretty narrow on the side. If you look at even where they're set up at the moment, our last defender is Alana McInerney, and she's on the post. So there was Chisholm Aguero with half a field of space. So had they got that ball out there quick, and I think Munster would have been absolutely under pressure. But again, it's the individual one-on-one tackles. The Barbarians are so strong in the contact that they are just dominating the carries and making meters in every carry that they have the ball.
Fiona Reedy is on the pitch and will be throwing into this line-out. Not a bad outing for Beth Buttimer in the first half. Good line-out throwing. Reedy with all the experience, and the ball is loose and awkward, and the referee says it's been not straight, and so it will be Barbarians put into the scrum. If they take that, they may also use the line-out if they prefer. And they have gone for that line-out. Looking to target Munster's line-out defence. As we saw in the first half, they really can score from absolutely anywhere, and May Campbell's accuracy at these line-out throws has been exceptional. 5 in the line-out. To the tail, Hughes into midfield, and Snowsill with the cross-field kick. And it looks like there's space, but it's really well collected from Corey in the backfield. Super take and then a super tackle, one after the other. Corey hit as she collected that ball. Through the hands, Munster go. Stand up, tackle. Potentially dangerous, but looks to just about legal, and an advantage coming to Munster. Referee blows the whistle and says, no, you're on the wrong side and can't get away, and a little bit trapped inside there, and the little tap and go. Carry into space. Munster really tapping those penalties and moving. Barbarians look to be a little bit narrow. If Munster can move that ball all the way out, and it's through the hands, and a little step back inside, and that's super work from Stephanie Noonan. Hughes. Another offside call. And Munster Reedy with the pass. It's tipped on. It's awkward. Just about collected, and the referee says no, there's no advantage there. It's a little bit sloppy, a little bit all over the place. But Munster have it. And is Myrna Wall going to tap and go again? Munster just seem to be loving the tap and goes today.
I think you can hear from behind us, management are shouting those messages in that they want Munster to play with intent. They're saying go, go, go on the free play. They're saying to use that free play, to use, keep that ball alive, try something.
2 and 3 sub.
And I suppose that was the first kind of opportunity we saw with Munster actually getting the ball through phases. But I think we look quite flat in attack. There doesn't seem to be a front or back door option. There doesn't seem to be. It's quite easy to read as a defence that we're not very deep, not coming onto the ball and putting a bit of footwork onto the ball and kind of just going laterally with our catch pass. So it's positive from Munster in that we've kept the ball and forced an offside. You know, I think it was Lindsay Peat that was offside there for giving Munster this opportunity to attack.
Okay, time on, please.
Replacements coming in on both sides. We have seen the arrival of Ciara O'Connor and Lindsay Peat into this front row. And Joanna Kitlinski is in as the replacement hooker. So that's the whole front row for the Barbarians changed out. We have seen changes in Munster's front row also. The arrival of Gillian Coombs, sister of Gavin Coombs. And as Emer Considine pointed out a short time ago, this has to be some kind of a historic first. A Munster brother-sister combo playing on the same day.
Yeah, it's often you'd see, you know, sisters playing together in big occasions like this. But I suppose given the historical nature of the game with the women's and men's double header, it has never before been done.
So Reedy will feed into this line out inside the Barbarians 22. Really well taken just about, and Munster look to fluff their lines. Ball bouncing and skittering, and it is knocked forward, and there just seems to be a lack of communication or a lack of understanding about what needs to be done. And Munster at the line out first of all got a second chance to get their hands back on that ball, and still the passes weren't good enough, and they've turned that ball over at the edge of the Barbarians 22. A little bit disappointing to see, Emer.
Yeah, and I'm sure Chloe will be disappointed with that as well. Whether it was, I think it might have been slightly behind her. As you're running at full pace, it's very difficult to try and turn around and try and change your run, especially when you're going at full speed. Again, it just costs up possession, and it costs up and gives them the opportunity to win a penalty and Junior to tap and go.
And off the Barbarians go on that penalty. Lovely little show and go, and that's excellent work from Golden, but Munster have done really well to create a problem. Hughes is at the bottom, popping it out to Lindsay Peat. Lindsay Peat meets Fiona Reedy. Not the first time those two have gone head to head with one another on the pitch. Into midfield, and O'Connor on the carry, and a unit. O'Connor absolutely bursting through Munster players.
No, leave it, you're off your feet, Munster.
But it's slow ball coming back. It looks like there may be a penalty advantage. Ailsa Hughes throwing into midfield, and suddenly the Barbarians are moving that ball, and Griffin popping it outside, but it's awkward, and the ball has been knocked on.
No advantage, knocked on. And
McGatty, I think, overran Ciara Griffin just a little bit, and the opportunity that looked like it may be there vanished as Ciara Griffin congratulates Myrna Wall on the turnover. Munster will have to put into the line out with these changed front rows.
Okay. Marcus here, guys.
Emer, are we going to see a significant change?
Fiona Reedy obviously brings a massive amount of experience to the front row. She has so many caps for Ireland and knows exactly what goes on in that. You see Ciara Farrell moved into hooker. Again, lots of experience in there. And Eilish Cahill is a fantastic sprinter. So those three, should bring a bit of strength into this scrum.
A free kick for an early engagement, and it's tap and go from Chloe Pearce and into midfield, and the ball backwards. Myrna Wall has it. Can she get the offload? No. Barbarians players tactically interfering, and they've turned that ball over, and suddenly they'll look to move again. Once again, Pete and Fiona Reedy head to head and into midfield. Huge carry from Christina Balogun, rampaging, and then O'Connor gets it, goes to ground. Griffin is there to support, and into the hands it goes, just about recollected.
Offside.
But Munster players offside, and Beth Stafford had a little step.
Okay, yeah.
Referee is taking a little break.
Number 7 was offside in the way of the line, okay?
Jane Closey just not getting out of the way quick enough. It was a little bit tactical, I thought. Similar to Christina Balogun in the first half, just not getting out of the way tactically. But this time the referee spots it and awards the penalty to the Barbarians. And it looks to be a player being treated, one of the Munster players being treated on the ground. Sad to say that at my advancing years, I can't make out who that is.
I think it's Eilish Cahill that may be down there. Looks like she got a bit of a knock to the head in that big tackle.
I'll keep a look at
That was a big collision that she faced against there a couple of phases back. But we can see how well that they did in the scrum to win that scrum penalty just a couple of moments ago, which is positive, I suppose, in a Munster term, that they sorted out the scrum and looks like we're fronting up against them, which is fantastic. But there is a massive amount of experience now in the front row with Fiona Reedy in there.
Cahill thankfully back on her feet and looks to be okay to continue playing. The Barbarians are emptying the bench. Here comes that entire bench. That is not a sight you want to be seeing if you're 45-7 down in a game with half an hour still to play. The calibre of these players coming off the Barbarians bench, well, it's pretty high. The feed will be from Kitlinski.
5. You're in. Yeah, 6.
To the tail. Munster don't even compete, and it's off the top, and Lindsay Peed has her hands on it and looks to a little slalom and through one defender, but it's a poor pass, and Aguero gets her hands on it. Chisholm Aguero stepping this way and that. She's going to need support when she gets to ground. It's good support from Munster this time round. Potential offside, little tip on. That's a superb tip on into the hands of Clodagh O'Halloran. Murnay Wall wants this ball fast, gets it fast. And unfortunately, Munster fluffing their lines. Yet again, a lack of communication. The ball has been knocked on, and it just looked as though Munster were starting to build something there. There was an energy behind them and a real impetus to go. And then, unfortunately, the lack of accuracy, the knock on in midfield. And I think Fiona Reedy will be disappointed with that.
Okay, time off. Time is off. Guys.
Yeah, it all came from, Chisholm initially did really well to beat so many defenders back inside, but I suppose it's the first opportunity we've really seen Chisholm, and again didn't have any space to really she made the most of a situation where she didn't have a lot of space in front of her. But we just got a snippet of just how dangerous someone like Chisholm can be when she's on the ball. But again, I think sometimes it's difficult when you don't have the ball for a sustained length of time. You then try and force it. You try and it's difficult to transition from attack into defence when you've been defending for a chunk of the game. It's difficult to transition, but I suppose the better teams will capitalise you on that transition, and they'll make the most of quick turnover ball. And I suppose we've seen it in the World Cup recently. The amount of teams, the really good teams capitalise on turnovers, and they punish teams that turn over the ball because they'll be out of position. There'll be nobody in the backfield. There'll be gaps and disjointed defence. And Munster, I suppose, just aren't making the most of those gaps in the disjointed defence off turnover.
Has been a game in which extended periods of time Munster don't have any ball to play with. And the Barbarians doing a bit of keep away.
Crouch.
Holding on to that possession, stretching Munster, utilising it. When Munster have had it, they haven't been able to turn it into points. And so the score remains 7 Munster, Barbarians 45. Solid scrum from the Barbas, and into midfield it goes, and lovely little pop up, and there's a little step inside, and it looks to have been knocked on. For just a second, Gemma Rowland looked as though the referee says it's not knocked on, but it was off the foot. And the referee is going to ping Munster for players not rolling away. And it really did look as though it was a knock on. The referee says nope, it was off the foot. And Munster penalised just inside their own 22. And you would assume the Barbarians aren't going to be interested in taking 3 points here. It will be the tap and go.
Yeah, it will. And like we said, there's a lot of fresh legs on the field that haven't got a chance to show today so far. So
it's a little trick move, and it looks like American football from the Barbas, and then the sliced kick is awkward for Corey, bouncing and really well collected for a finish. And suddenly Munster look to get going. Corey on the carry, needs support, and in fact the support doesn't get there fast enough, and once again the whistle is blown, and I cannot wait to see what the Barbarians are going to do now, because that was American football.
I was just going to say, can we get a repeat of what they just did, because it happened so quickly that I missed it, so I want to see that move go again.
It looked like an American football style play with a quarterback standing behind the line. Are they going to try for this again? Gemma Rowland is on it. It's the tap, and it's popped up. It is American football. Snowsill this way and that with a dummy, and it's popped inside. This is super entertaining stuff from the Barbarians. Munster won't be happy. But through the hands, the Barbarians go, and suddenly gaps are opening up again. Munster want to get on that ball. And this time around, Munster's defence closes the door, and they'll be delighted with that. That is some outstanding work at that breakdown from Munster to turn that one over. And it's a little tap and go. That's not 10, surely. Referee is going to have to move the Barbarians. He doesn't. Surely not 10. But Munster still have through contact. What a carry. Reedy on ball. Again into Lindsay Pete. Are they targeting each other at this point? And the referee is going to blow the whistle. I think someone may be hurt. It's precautionary, yes. It does look as though Fiona Reedy is in some discomfort on the ground. The referee wants her seen to before this game will continue.
No, my name's Andrew. But anyway, didn't pick you up
The
above the
American football style trick plays certainly add a certain amount of entertainment value to the game.
Yeah, and I think that's part and parcel of any Barbarians game. You know, it's obviously something that they work on prior to big match day, and we've seen, I suppose, highlight reels of amazing tries that have been scored in the past from such trick plays like that. And they always, I suppose, that's the fun element of the game, that sometimes when you play at such a high level, and a lot of these girls would have played at such a high level, that you don't have opportunities to do trick plays like this. You don't have opportunities to have fun, I suppose. It's always about winning at all costs, and it's generally kept in a, you know, a very structured, strategic, safe way. And I suppose it shows you and reminds you that sport is supposed to be fun, and we can see it here in the Barbarians' faces.
They certainly seem to be enjoying themselves. A lot of laughs out there. That's not to say that this is by any means a soft game. Some of these tackles have been massive. Some of the carries fairly titanic as well. But it is nice to watch a game with that sense of joy about it. Munster have the feed, Myrna Wall, and it's picked from the back. Chloe Pearce on the carry and into traffic. Wall looking for options, and through the hands Munster go. Can they manage to get some momentum behind them? The backfield is covered, so the kick is going to be an awkward one.
Winger has everyone on.
Flannery bouncing it, and it bounces uncomfortably for the Barbarians. It's all the way back to the edge of the 22 and collected and popped into midfield, and they'll look up and want to play that type of heads-up rugby. Back into the hands of Aoife Corey, really well collected. What can she see in front of her? The little show and go was super. The offload was almost a hands. Barbarians turn it over, and suddenly the Babas are on the rampage. Down the side and back inside, and suddenly it's through hands. Are they going to get it all the way from here? No. Knocked on.
Knocked forward off Munster in the tackle.
As the tackle was happening, and you just thought yet again that try line was coming for the Barbarians. Through the hands. Excellent work, excellent footwork to stay out of contact. But for a finish, can't get the job done. Ball knocked on, and they will have to put in to the scrum. It is enjoyable to watch.
It is, and I suppose, look, when you play a game where you want to offload and you want to be risky, there's an element of mistakes that are going to come into the game when you do that. And we saw Aoife Corey with a really good show and go, made some good gain line through the offload. But again, the Barbarians realising that no ruck was formed meant that there was no offside line, which meant they were up in that passing channel in to intercept that offload. And that comes with their experience, knowing I can get up here, I can intercept this ball, and I suppose Chisholm just unfortunate here with the hand to get the ball knocked forward in that tackle. But again, the Barbarians looking to play with that offload game.
And that is Chisholm Aguero's last action of this game. She's come out, and what a player to be able to bring on. The experience and calibre of Aoife Doyle, Irish international. In for Chisholm Aguero, but we unfortunately didn't get to see enough of Chisholm Aguero. To the tail, at the back of that scrum, and suddenly the Barbarians are once again humming, and it looked as though it was on with the little reverse pass. It's knocked on somewhat awkwardly. Once again, the Barbarians just have so much ball, so much possession and territory. It's hard to see Munster getting out from underneath the heel. This relentless Barbarian pressure all game long.
Okay, Mark is there, guys.
What do they need to do here, Emer, in order to alleviate some of this pressure?
Well, I think if we're looking at where the most of this rugby has been played in this half, we're looking to our right. We're looking into Munster's defensive 22. We need to get out of this. We need to get out of our half. I suppose any bit of gain line, build the phases here, hold on to it, or else get it down the park and force them into playing in their own half. You have two options: get out of here, and whether it's us or them.
Flannery with the kick, and that is what Emer Continent was just talking about, trying to get Munster not playing inside their own 22. The return kick is a beaut. Is it going to bounce into touch? 5 metres out. It is a superb return kick. Nobody at home for Munster, and that ball bouncing into touch, even as Steph Carroll chased it all the way back, just 5 metres out from the Munster line, and Munster playing once again where they don't want to be playing this game.
No, like as a fullback, as a defensive fullback, it's a nightmare to defend a midfield scrum because there's so much backfield to cover. So I suppose as a 10 you have to look and see where that 15 is, where is the backfield cover, and keep it as far away from her as possible. Now, some might say that was very skillful. Often rugby is about a bounce of a ball, and it was a really good bounce of a ball there, but it's put Munster under much more pressure than we were in 30 seconds ago.
Feed from that line out from Fiona Reedy was good, and Munster looking to build a little maul possession, and this is good too.
That's 1-9.
Holding on to it. Myrne Wall gets it. She puts a boot on it. It's going to drop really nicely into the hands of Snowsill, and Snowsill back inside. McGatty is absolutely murdered in the contact. Munster doing well to get up on that one. Hughes to Lindsay. Pete into midfield. It's a big throw outside, and the Barbarians are scampering. And is the try line begging? No, the knock on just inside the 22. And I think perhaps some of the accuracy has gone with the replacements. Obviously the sense that this game might already be over at 45-7. I've not seen a whole lot of accuracy in this half from either side, really.
No, it's actually been quite stop-start. There's been quite a lot of scrums here as well due to the handling errors. But I suppose with the intensity of the first half, it is always difficult to back it up. And with changes being made, there might be a little bit of, they're not gelling together. They haven't had the opportunity to gel together. We see Elsa Hughes leaving the park here. She'll probably have a massive crowd down from Offaly here supporting her. And a really good game from her today.
Perhaps the player of the match. I know we're not handing out player of the match awards at all, but certainly wouldn't be this early in the game. But Elsa Hughes has really been that fulcrum of that Barbarians team, running everything.
Step back, please. Step back. Marcus here.
A fairly easy ride of a game for Eleanor Snowsill as well, because of the work of Hughes and that pack. Munster will now empty their bench. Claire Bennett looking to come on. Aoife Shaughnessy also. Abby Salter Townsend. All preparing. Referee says that's a penalty for not driving straight. And for the first time in the 20 minutes that this half has been on, Munster will have an opportunity to get themselves out of the 22, get some platform possession, and hopefully use that a little bit better.
Don't think Lindsay Peat was quite too happy with that decision there.
And not particularly shy about telling the referee her opinion about that.
7, 9 and 10.
Famously not a shrinking violet, Lindsay Peat.
7, 9 and 10. So.
What's the substitution? Number 19, Claire Bennett, replaces number 7, Jane.
Take a step, please, guys.
Number 20,
Mark is here. I'll give you your mark. Take a step. Take a step. Take a step.
And so that half-back pairing is out. An all-new half-back pairing in their place. Abby Salter Townsend and Aoife Shaughnessy now providing the 9-10 axis for Munster. Fiona Reedy will have this throw. Munster looking to get some stability into this game. And it's interfered in the middle, the ball bouncing awkwardly and collected from Vicky Fleetwood, but the ball was knocked on by the Barbarians, and so Munster get out of jail somewhat there. You can really just see how much these Barbarian players are enjoying this game. Christina Balogun with a big smile on her face as she talks to her teammates about the knock on.
Yeah, she's had a fantastic game today. She's made some great carries, some great hits in defence.
Lindsay Peat giving the referee some instructions rather than the other way around. And Munster will have to put in.
You can see that Mary Healy came on for Ailsa Hughes, a scrum half there. Galwegians and Connacht player, former Irish player, fantastic 9 as well. Great to see her back and get an opportunity to play on the big stage again.
Feed is good. Munster's scrum is steady into midfield, looking to go through some hands, and that's a little bit better from Munster. The layers were there in the attack. A backdoor option offered and taken.
No, leave it now.
Referee instructs the Barbarians players to leave it, and that's a big clean out. Looked a little suspect, but it's fine. Referee says play on. Barbarians' line speed is good, putting pressure on. Reedy is in midfield. Lovely pop-up pass. A little bit static, but Munster making the most of that in the contact area. The little dink over the top. O'Halloran has to chase. And it's a bit of a mismatch with the back against the second row, but Munster doing really well to put pressure on Barbarians' possession, and the referee is going to give them the reward for that pressure, the form of a penalty. Far side of the pitch. That's a little better from Munster, both on ball and off ball.
Yeah, there was a really good starter play from Munster. They actually had, it was a really good hard line by Aoife Corey, but there was deceptive play with Aoife Doyle. We know how dangerous she can be, and obviously the Barbarians will be aware of how good a player she is. So even having some front door, back door options keeps the internal defence, guessing where the ball is going to go. A really good turnover there.
Shaughnessy puts that into touch. Munster, maybe for the first time in this half, and it's 25 minutes old nearly, will be inside the Barbarians' 22. An opportunity to try and get another score on the board. Playing somewhat for pride now, and it was a little trick play, but it didn't come off, and the ball has been knocked on. It was an interesting move, and you can tell that Chloe Pearce is not happy with how that one turned out. So there will be a scrum. Munster lost the opportunity to get some points on the board.
Yeah, it was an opportunity. And look, there's set plays, there's set moves, and again, similar to the kick a while ago, had it gone to hand, it was going to be the try of the day. Well, we would have claimed it was the try of the day across the board for the Munster. I hear that's Munster game here.
I hope you're not suggesting that I'm biased, Emer Considine.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Me either.
11, stop.
The kick is good, awkward, bouncing. Corey collects it and steps out of one and into another tackle. Great work from the fullback to give Munster an attacking platform. Another rampaging run into contact inside the 22. Salter Townsend all the way out the back. Doyle throws it. It's a little bit awkward, bouncing in front of Steph Carroll. She's fighting to get on the ground and is popped up again. Another carry, this one from Ciara Farrell. Referee says stay away. Lovely little front door option taken. Decoy runner receiving that ball and carrying into traffic, and what can Munster do from here? Going backwards in a lovely little step to try and get out of trouble and give Munster some front foot ball yet again. Not enough support at the ruck. The referee says that entry was illegal from the side. Munster tap and go, looking to head towards that try line. Step back inside, onto the ground. Salter Townsend goes, and Munster, it's slow ball. Fiona Reedy at scrum half, throwing to Claude O'Halloran. O'Halloran out to Carroll. Steph Carroll through the tackle. 2 big hits. Oh, that one, you could feel that from all the way up here. And the referee might be talking to one of the Barbarians players about that. It was Fleetwood and Ciara Griffin at the same time.
Yeah, I think it was just the double hit on Steph there that I think they actually clashed heads together. The two of them came around, and that's I suppose the issue with double tackles is that if you're both at the same height and you come around the player, you're going to knock heads against each other. But Vicky Fleetwood seems to have come out the worst of it, as most people do when they face opposite Ciara Griffin. Ciara Griffin's up on her feet, taking it all in again.
Fleetwood is back on her feet and moving. Ciara Griffin just shrugged it off. It was a huge, monstrous hit.
And you could hear the crowd feel every second of that hit as well.
The noise, the groan from the crowd. And for that.
But this is a good piece of Munster play. If you take this as a whole, good decision to tap and go from Chloe Pearce to take, the Barbarians were completely asleep. They weren't even looking in the right direction.
That's the first time that tap and go has really worked to Munster's benefit. They've tapped and gone a lot.
Yeah, but it's about, I suppose, the decision around when and where you are on the pitch, and a really good decision to do it when they're on the back foot, we're in attack, and here we are.
Tap and go again. Munster 5 metres out, looking to get at that line. Salter Townsend.
Back foot. No hands!
On it with the quick ball, the lovely little pop up, and the carry from Claire Bennett. Short of the line, Munster still have Fiona Reedy on the carry. She's hard to stop when she gets moving.
No.
Munster going out wide again, and the carry is over the line, and surely they're down, and they are. And it's finished superbly from Chloe Pearce at short range. You can always back her 2 or 3 metres out to get that ball over the line, and she does. Touches it down, and Munster have their second score of the day, just under the posts, 45-12. Much better.
Much better. And like we said, Munster needed to get the ball into their hands, and we saw what they can do, the intensity they can play with, the tempo that they can play with, the strength that they have in their carries when they do get it. And now I suppose it's just getting it again, ready to go, and holding on to it and making sure that you make the most of the possession that you have. Play in the field, part of the field that you want to play in. We don't want to play in our 22. We've spent enough time in our 22 in the first half, and we can see what we can do. It puts the Barbarians under pressure. They don't want to defend. They just want to play fun, attacking rugby. But at the end of the day, I suppose it works both ways.
Unfortunate miss from the tee for Aoife Shaughnessy. So 45-12 the score remains. Emer Considine called for a bit of pride out of Munster at the start of the second half to put some scores on and work their way back into this game, perhaps winning out of touch with only 12 minutes or so left on the clock. But it's nice to see Munster going through some phases, earning themselves that score. Reedy is underneath the kickoff and collects it really, really well. Munster look to set up and go from here. Referee says release. Salter Townsend into midfield. And once again, the hits are quite bruising from time to time. Shaughnessy's in midfield. It's a good pass outside, and there's another monster hit. The Barbarians taking absolutely no prisoners. A little gap, and Salter Townsend thought she could see a way through. Did really well with the snipe, keeping that Barbarians defence honest. Shaughnessy has to go in at scrum half. Munster have that possession, and this time they look much more assured in possession. Hint of offside from the Barbarians, referees not looking.
Tackle! Tackle round away!
NZ Pete getting through some work. Munster go out that back door. Barbarians are up quick, and it's really well done to retain possession. Going back out the far side, pop up, lovely little pass, 2 lovely passes, and Munster carrying, doing really well. If they can get this ball quick, and they can, and into midfield, and this time it's Ciara Farrell on the carry. What have Munster got in the tank? Lovely little pass outside, just beating one, and a lovely hands to take it up to the halfway line. This is much better from Munster. Aoife Doyle on the carry that time. Shouts of offside, Munster looking to go. The hands are outstanding, lovely offloads, and Munster getting some phase play going. Keeping it tight and narrow. This time Bennett popping it up for Corey. Corey looking for the offload, has to go to deck. Munster need to support her. And they do. Nope, they do not. Unfortunately, just a little bit isolated. Couldn't manage to get that ball. And the Barbarians get the penalty, and away they come. Aoife Corey staying on the ground. We hope she's okay. The referee blows the whistle. Munster weren't back 10. Stephanie Noonan is on the ground, excuse me.
Yeah, and who else would a turnover but Ciara Griffin breaking Munster hearts one more time today. Really good break from Steph, but it came from really good hands from Claire Bennett in the second row. She's done really well when she's come on, and actually the bench have made a massive impact since they've come on. For the last few minutes, Munster have been in charge of this game. Munster have held possession. They've built it through the phases. I suppose in the past we would have been looking to kick that ball away, and we didn't get a return from our chase and from our defensive line on that line chase. So that was really good play, really good positive play there to build the phases. The ball, the rucks are better, the breakdown has been better. Abby's moving the ball quicker from 9, and we've actually moved for the first time in this game. We've moved their defence from left to right, and gaps have started to open as a result of sloppy tackles and really good offloads from the Munster players.
It has looked a little bit stretched for the Barbarians in the last few minutes. Munster looked to be exploiting that quite well. A shame to not get much out of it. And Snowsill is going to put that one into touch. Far side of the pitch from our commentary position. And once again, another attacking opportunity for the Barbarians. Only 9 minutes left in this game. 45-12. Munster have kept the Barbarians to a single score in this half. Somewhat unexpectedly. For all the possession and territory, line out is a little awkward, but gets to the hands eventually, and the Barbarians looking to move in and offering some decoy runners. Good play, the referee's in the way, has to duck down, and it's made a mess of it for the Barbarians, and suddenly Munster looking to put pressure on that Barbarians possession. Super work from Steph Carroll, but the offload is good, and Barbarians have it back at their 10. The referee, well, played his role. O'Connor on the carry. Steph Carroll once again getting about. Loads of work from the winger. Barbarians have just about. Snowsill into midfield. Munster looking to stand her up, and that's a maul, and surely they'll turn over that possession from here. If that ball still going forward, and Munster turned it over. Fiona Reedy with the rip in contact in the maul. Superb work from the prop, and Munster looking to go through some hands. Is the offload good? It's knocked forward before it was thrown back, and well, that was just a little bit unfortunate after some outstanding work from Fiona Reedy.
Yeah, again, Fiona Reedy's experience there to hold that ball up and be aware that, you know, the ball was there to rip from that maul. Really good work, especially from Claire Bennett as well. They came in and they showed their experience in that pack. Probably the opportunity was on to give that ball wide. Again, capitalising on a turnover and exploiting teams on turnovers is important. And there probably was an opportunity to give that ball. There was an overlap. Munster definitely had more players here on this touchline. But again, another, I suppose, unforced error from Munster.
So the scrum for the Barbarians inside their own half. Scrum has been something of a mixed bag since the front rows were changed. And Munster have had much more parity in the scrums in this half. It's steady yet again and into midfield, and Snowsill. And once again the decoy runners, and Snowsill on the wrap around, and through the gap she goes. She's looking for the offload. Munster doing well to make the tackle. No options for the out half at the time. But the Barbarians still have, and through the hands they go. Munster looking to blitz up and put pressure on. Through the hands, Lindsay Pete, and that's a lovely little dink through. Have Munster managed to cover back just about. Again, huge work from the centres to get on that. Again, Stephanie Noonan, really a huge amount of work from her, particularly in this second half.
Yeah, she's someone you can absolutely depend on when it comes to making her tackles and in defence. She's tough as nails and puts her head in, you know, in every single place that she needs to be, and she's, look at her work rate around the pitch. Fantastic player.
Fiona Reedy will have to feed at this halfway line. What have Munster got in the bag?
Take a step. I gave you your mark.
Once again,
No, off the line.
Lindsay Pete and the referee disagreeing. To the front, another little trick play, and it's really well done, and Bennett has it and into contact, and can the ball be delivered quick? It can, through the hands O'Halloran on the carry. O'Connor looks to poach over into midfield. What are the options? Super pass from Chloe Pearce. Munster looking to move. Shaughnessy into hands, and there's a bit of a break on, and it's unfortunately knocked forward. And Munster have been doing so well, showing the options, stretching the Barbarians a little bit, and then unfortunately the accuracy not quite there, inches away. You'd think there might have been a try on again there.
Yeah, excellent, really good short line from Alana McInerney there, and to get our hands free as well after that tackle to pass on to Steph Noonan. The opportunities are there to get the ball wide. When Munster actually have front door, back door, you can see the gaps are there. Probably front door, I think it's probably on to go back door and get it wide going forward, you know, because we're still running really good short lines, which are keeping that defence honest. And the options are on at the back as well. If we can just look to spread it a little bit more, a little bit quicker, play with a little bit more intensity. I know I'm asking a lot. It's 75 minutes on the clock. But we can see they're doing it. They're looking to play with that intent. They're looking to play with that intensity. And still with only 5 minutes left, it's great to see.
It's a much improved second half performance from Munster. We've seen in terms of defensive and in possession, showing much more intent, showing much more variety. And in this second half, they've given a fairly solid account of themselves. The second half score is 7 points to 5, which is a much closer representation of what Munster are, you would think.
Yeah, like across the board, it's been better. Right down from tactical performances to when we take our tap and goes quickly, when we kick to the corner. Our line-out has improved, our decision making around the line about where to throw, and even if it is that throwing to one and doing that short move, it's working. And I think our decision making is better, our decision to hold the ball is better, our decision to build the phases and to play in the right areas of the field has been better as well. But at the end of the day, on both sides, it's the inaccuracy of the final pass, of that last offload, of forcing it too often, and there's been quite a lot of stoppages as a result on both sides of the field, which I suppose shows the intensity that this game has been played at.
A little bit stop-start, but
Crouch.
We've got about 4 minutes of rugby left to play. Hope that Munster still have something in the tank for these 4 minutes to get this crowd cheering ahead of the next Munster Barbarians match. Barbarians still have an into midfield, and Snowsill with a lovely little pass back inside, and the steps and breaking through tackles, and suddenly the Barbarians are into Munster's half. 3 passes and away they go. Cut off option, really well done, but it's flat and it's popped up outside, and as McGatty got the legs, she has to take it. It's been knocked on, forward pass, and you saw the run up cut off, and the Barbarians just blanked it, ignored it, went out. Unfortunately for them, knocked that ball on.
Yeah, earlier on I spoke about Chisholm showing high in defence, forcing the team to go back inside, or else your other option is a risky loopy pass, but they went for that risky loopy pass there and it worked out well. Unfortunately, that last pass again, as we spoke about, just not going to hand. So it's everything else, 99% of what they're doing is correct, but it's that final last pass that they just aren't making sure of.
The referee's mic loud in my ear. Abby Salter-Townsend wants this at the back of the scrum, gets it into Shaughnessy in midfield, and Noonan, and into the hands of Steph Carroll, and Carroll looks to go outside, and lovely little pop-up pass, and Doyle has her hands on it, stepping this way and that. The Barbarians shepherding her towards the line, but it's really good contact, taken really well. It's a little bit slow for Munster, but they have hands on it. Much, much better, and unfortunately thrown at a chest and knocked forward. That is really exciting stuff that we were kind of hoping to see out of Munster. As you said, there's a backdoor option, a front door option, and when they go to it, they show they're a real attacking threat.
Yeah, again, an opportunity for Steph Carroll to show just how fast she is in attack this time. We've seen her chase backs numerous times today, but she cut that defence open and left Aoife Doyle with an amount of space. Again, I'm sure I hope Aoife Doyle's hamstrings were warmed up prior to that sprint, because we showed her speed. We saw her speed there. And look, it's good. Again, the final pass, forcing it, but better, much better play from Munster.
Scrum again. And the feed. What will the Barbarians do from here? They've scored tries from their own 10-metre line in the first half. It's no still with the little show and go. Outstanding that number 10 has been all game long.
No.
Referee says leave it, looking to chase down or charge down that kick. It's landed in the hands of Doyle, twisting this way and that. Can she burst out of that tackle? Ciara Griffin looked to get on it and spoil the party, but Munster still have. Lovely little tip-on pass. The attempted kick didn't go quite to hand. Alana McInerney a little bit unfortunate with that. Brushed off her boot rather than kicked. The Barbarians have. Munster look to put pressure on that Barbarians possession. Out they go. Munster looking to cut off again, and they've forced the Barbarians backwards. Excellent defensive work from Munster. Into the final minute of play in this first of two Munster versus Barbarians matches. 45 points to 12. Munster will not be happy with the scoreline, but they'll be much happier with the second half performance in terms of what they were able to show and what pressure they were able to put on. The Barbarians have looked good. Referee instructing Munster to stay back. Once again, Snowsill, O'Connor. O'Connor throws it. It's a little bit awkward. McGatty has to return and collect it. And a huge hit from Alana McInerney inside the Barbarians 22. Pressure on now for the team in black and white. The little clearing kick is hooked. Shaughnessy catches it. Is there a gap for Shaughnessy to run into? It looks like there is. Just about door closed. But Munster still want it and have. Into the hands. McInerney out to Corey. Corey tries to step back in and can't get there. Munster still have. Still with the opportunity. Cahill with the pop-up. Bennett on the carry. Munster showing impetus now, and the carry from Pearce is into traffic. Popped up. Once again, Cahill heading for that line, a metre short. Munster surely have it in them now to score from here. It's popped out and just brought to ground. Again, an inch short. Ball not out, says the referee. Munster a little bit scrappy. Advantage being played for the offside. Pick and go is short again. Outside, O'Halloran on the carry. Still short. Munster working at this now to try and put some gloss on this scoreboard. And a huge hit from Badigan again. She's been immense in the second row. Show and go from Pearce. But the door still closed in Munster's face. Are they going to go wide with this? Yes, they are. And through the hands they go. And is there a gap? No, door closed. Munster need to work to get the support. They've lost about 10 metres now. Referee says no advantage coming for the offside. And so we will come back. Is it going to be tap and go again?
Absolutely, it has to be. It's been working well. They've had good patience on the ball. They just need to keep putting them under pressure with those big carries, staying connected and making sure that that ruck is cleared out properly.
17 off your feet.
Lindsay Peat
17.
off her feet, according to the referee. Chloe Pearce has decided she's going to take this one all on her own. For half a second, looked like she was going to tap and go herself. The team are lined up beside her. Lovely little pop back inside pass. Can Munster get themselves over the line? Nope. Short again, but so close to it. Another big carry from the back row. She's been immense for Munster today. Popped inside. Barbarians closing the door now. Is there options? Yes, there are if they can move this ball. Shaughnessy to Noonan. Noonan with the lovely pass, and Carroll doesn't get there. So close for Steph Carroll, right at the death. Bundled into touch before she could get that ball down, and the referee says that's that. As Steph Carroll picks herself up and gets back to her feet. She would have loved to have scored that and round that game out. Just bundled into touch for a finish. But an exciting end to the game. Munster making a much better account of themselves in the second half than they had in the first, limiting the Barbarians women's team to just a single try. But what an occasion and what an event it has been. Can you summarise that one for us, Emer?
I think a much better performance in the second half. I know it was a fantastic performance from the Barbarians in the first half. We saw such a variety of tries and skills on show. The complete performance almost in the first half, and I think Munster can be proud coming back out in that second half. They showed the fight, they showed determination in their attack, they were better in their attack, they sorted out their scrum, they sorted out their line out, we built the phases, and I suppose a great way, it would have been a nicer way to finish with a try from Steph Carroll for a finish, but a much better performance here in Thumb Park on such an occasion, with the men's team already starting to warm up. You know, the atmosphere was there. You could hear the crowd shouting for the girls at the very end, and a much better way to finish.
How do you think, or what do you think Munster will take away from this performance? What are the lessons learned, and what's to be gained, or what's the benefit of this game going forward?
It's game time in big occasions like this. It's playing on the big stage, and the Barbarians are a fantastic team. With the internationals you're playing against, to play against that calibre of player, you learn more than training. You learn more than playing against each other at training. And I suppose the youth involved in that Munster squad, there's so many young players there that this is just the start of their journey. This is just the start of their career in a Munster jersey. And it's a nice way to start here in Thomond Park against the Barbarians. You know, an unsuccessful year without silverware, but still to get to a final. They'll look to build on this next year, and they'll be hurt from this year. And it was nice to probably run out here and finish off the season with such a nice a crowd, a stadium occasion with the men here, and I'm sure they'll have enjoyed it regardless of the result.
And that result, 45 points for the Barbarian women's 15 and the Munster women with just 12. Doesn't really tell the story of the game, which was entertaining from start to finish, but that's what you get with Baba's rugby anyway. A bit of entertainment, value for money. We are just about done here for this game, but I will be back in approximately 45 minutes or so with full coverage of the Munster men's versus the Barbarian men's team, and kick-off on that is at 4:30. For the moment, from me, Dan Mooney, I would like to thank Emer Considine very sincerely for your input and for joining us today. We'll be back just prior to 4:30 for full coverage of Munster men versus the Barbarians men. For now, a little bit break. Thrown into the middle, taken off the top, and the Barbarians look to maul this one, heading towards the Munster line. Is this the start that they want? They're going to get over the line, surely. And they are. Try scored. We're seconds into this for a player of this calibre. And indeed, it is slotted over for the extra. Yards lost for the Barbarians, and they're going to have to go to the boot, and it's charged down, and Munster are going to run this one in surely from here. Lovely pop-up pass. Is she going to get all the way to the line? She does. Super finish with the attacking opportunity, and then turned that defence into another opportunity by squeezing the Barbarians. Munster looking to get on it and slow that ball down. They've done that really, really well so far in the opening 10 minutes of this game, not giving quick possession or easy possession to the Barbarians. But the carry is there, and it's all the way through, and it's going to be touched down for the Barbarian. And the Munster squad, Ciara Griffin. Snowsill with the conversion, and that is a super kick. Back, Chloe Pearce wants to get her hands on it. The Barbarians have turned that one over, and Ciara Griffin on the rampage yet again. Barbarians have options out wide. Are they going to move this? It looks like Gaffney is waiting for it all the way out on the wing, and she is going to score in the corner. You could see it was popped up, and suddenly the Barbarians are moving again, and Gaffney finds it out on the wing, but there are Munster defenders. Gaffney steps back inside, slaloming through 1 and 2 and 3, and she's going to go all the way to the line. That is a superb individual try, an outstanding, and the Barbarians losing some yards, having to regain those now in contact. Through the hands, and there's a bit of space, and it looks like the try line is begging, just about held down, and then not the second time round. It is carried over.
Around and that pod that's set up, it's just playing heads up rugby of what's in front of you, along with the dominant.
Into midfield, and it's a good carry from Stafford all the way outside. Steinmetz with the pass, and suddenly a try line begging, and it looks as though McGaddy is going to scamper in, and they are going to scamper in and finish that for a try. Just O'Halloran to put pressure, and suddenly there's a little break and a little show and go, and Hughes has taken off and slaloming through defenders. Elisa Hughes is going to go all the way to the line. Steph Carroll with a super covering tackle. It's not enough. The support runners were there, and Vicky Fleetwood runs.
Your defence set up around your ruck, and I suppose she spotted that gap. Steph Carroll with the chase back, and a fantastic pass to go to hand.
Claire Bennett short of the line. Munster still have Fiona Reedy on the carry. She's hard to stop when she gets moving. Munster going out wide again, and the carry is over the line, and surely they're down, and they are.